Welcome back on World News. Philippine President Rodrigo Duterte attended a ceremony at the Villa Mor Air Base on Sunday as the remains of soldiers who were killed in the southern Philippines were brought back to the capital. 13 Philippine Marines were killed on Friday in fierce fighting with Muslim militants who have laid siege to southern Marawi City for nearly a month, in the biggest single-day loss for government forces, according to the military. The Marines were conducting a house-to-house search for militants who has allied with the Islamic State group who are still occupying parts of Marawi when the battle erupted. The government had earlier said that the unrest has killed 20 civilians, 134 militants, and 39 government troops. Hundreds of thousands of people have fled the city, parts of which were reduced to rubble by fighting and government airstrikes in attempt to dislodge the rebels. The party of new French President Emmanuel Macron has won the most votes in parliamentary elections. The centrist Republic on the Move party sidelined two major French parties in an unprecedented victory, making it easier for Macron to pass his agenda through the assembly. VOA's Latika Hoke reports.
Voter turnout Sunday was barely 41% compared to more than 48% 5 years ago. Many voters are skeptical of all politicians.
With all the promises that they've made and that they never hold, there are fewer and fewer people who go out and vote.
But some say it is worth giving the new president a chance to make things better.
What's at stake is important. We've never seen anything like this, an unknown candidate taking power and a bunch of unknown candidates making it into the National Assembly. It's a revolution. Maybe it will lead to something good. We don't know. We'll see.
Voters who were attracted to Macron's campaign message promising change and progress said it is important to give the president enough support to carry out his agenda.
It's key to give the current president a majority in the parliament, otherwise he won't be able to change France.
Macron won the election on the promise of changing politics as usual to politics that is more in touch with the French people and geared for progress. His early presidency experienced a setback ahead of the parliamentary elections when one of his cabinet ministers, Richard Ferrand, came under investigation on nepotism charges.
I think the cabinet made by Macron has been on the right way in terms of external communications, public statements, image maintenance, and operations. He may be confronted with some difficulties on the Ferrand issue, but it isn't a big problem on the whole.
These parliamentary elections are seen as a key vote for France's young president. Close to 8,000 candidates are competing for 577 seats in the National Assembly, the lower house of parliament. The decisive second round of voting will be held next Sunday.
Supporters of the coalition of former ethnic Albanian rebel commanders took to the streets the early hours of Monday morning to celebrate the party winning the most votes in Kosovo's general election. The election also saw a surge in popularity for a nationalist party, according to preliminary results. Ramush Haradinaj, whom the leading coalition has nominated to be prime minister, addressed supporters and congratulated their victory. The ex-rebels came in first with around 35% of the vote. The nationalist self-determination movement was neck and neck with the coalition led by former Prime Minister Isa Mustafa, which had around 26% each after the counting of about 70% of the votes, according to Democracy in Action, a monitoring group. The new cabinet will have a tough job in resolving several issues, including the border demarcation deal with Montenegro. World Ocean Day, held earlier this month, is an annual focus on the threats to our planet. Plastic is everywhere, on the surface, in the deep, and also along the shorelines. Kevin Enox has the story how in India, a dedicated group of fishermen turned conservationists is helping to solve the problem.
These one-time fishermen spend their days hauling in a new catch, garbage. This is a normal day's haul. A boat full of plastic trash and old fishing nets and wildlife caught in the deadly webs.
If we don't take it out, nothing will survive. If we do not take out the abandoned net, then it will kill the fish and the marine life. We won't be able to save anything in the water because of the plastic. There won't be fish or corals. Only plastic will survive. One day will come when people will see only a sea of plastic.
These former fishermen are employed as part of a United Nations program. Most of the communities here rely on fish for their meals, so keeping the waters clean isn't so much a matter of environmentalism, but survival.
In the coastal areas, you find a lot of trash everywhere, on the beaches, on the water, everywhere you have the trash. And that is even causing damage to the wildlife. Some of the turtles chew plastic as if it is jellyfish, or it gets into the system of some of the dolphins and other animals.
Keeping the water clean also increases the tourist value. The region is biologically diverse and has a thriving scuba trade.
During the day, they take the tourists for scuba diving, but they are conscious that their environment has to be kept clean. And that is prompting them to keep the biodiversity intact. If there are elements like pollution getting into the waters, they are the people who would raise the voice. So that is the kind of synergy that we are trying to build.
Always we are just getting lots of things from ocean. Okay, so we trying to give at least 10% to the ocean.
But the battle is ongoing, and despite their best efforts, the World Economic Forum predicts that by 2025, there will be 1 ton of plastic in the ocean for every 3 tons of fish.
And now let's take a look at what the weather will be like across the world today. There will be thunderstorms in Jakarta, Singapore, and Mumbai, while it will be rainy in Tokyo and cloudy in Beijing. It will be cloudy in Sydney and Tokyo, sunny in Paris, while Cape Town will be rainy and New York will be having thunderstorms. Stay with us on World News. We'll be right back after the break. And after the break, we'll be taking you to the Czech town of Pelhřimov, which held a festival to celebrate their thousands of world records. And the upcoming survival horror movie, 47 Meters Down.